Welcome to the bumps in the dark.
Listen if you dare. Listen if you dare.
Miles Wickham never wanted to move to the edge of nowhere, but when a great uncle he'd never heard of left a crumbling farmhouse to his family in his will, the decision was made for him. "It's a legacy," his dad said. "It's a dump," Miles muttered, stepping over collapsed floorboards and peeling wallpaper. Behind the farmhouse stretched acres of dense forest, a place where the wind never seemed to reach. One afternoon, looking to blow off steam and maybe impress a few new classmates online, Miles wandered into the woods to film a TikTok. That's when he found it. In a moss-choked clearing, a stone well sat crooked in the dirt, iron grate chained shut, and a rotted wooden sign leaning against its side. The paint was faded, but he could still read the words, "Do not unseal. Evil lies within." Perfect. Miles set up his phone, put on his cockiest smirk, and pried the chains loose with an old rusted crowbar. "You guys ready to meet some evil?" He laughed into the camera as he yanked the grate open. Nothing happened. At least, not yet. That night, the weeping began. At first, Miles thought it was just pipes groaning in the old farmhouse, but then he noticed the water. His bedroom carpet was soaked through with puddles that hadn't been there hours earlier. His bedsheets were damp. His phone refused to hold a charge, the screen flickering like it was submerged. The mirrors fogged over from the inside. When he turned the bathroom faucet on, it sputtered violently, then poured thick, dark blood, tainted with black clots and strands of tangled black hair, sluggish and warm. Clumps stuck to the sink as the stench hit him like iron and rot. Suddenly, the weeping intensified. It echoed from the walls, the drains, the very air. Miles staggered, clutching the edge of the sink as a wave of nausea rolled over him. His ears popped. Then dark, muddy water began pouring from them, thick and cold. The room spun. His knees gave out. The world slipped sideways. In the blackness, he saw her. A pale girl with long, tangled black hair, eyes like flooded graves. She was beneath him, beneath the surface of some dark pool, her arms reaching up. Miles tried to scream, but water filled his mouth. She gripped his ankles and dragged him downward, deeper, deeper. His lungs burned as his vision blurred. Then, air, light. He jolted awake on the bathroom floor, gasping, coughing up water that shouldn't have been there. His skin was freezing. His ears rang, and on his right ankle was a bruise in the shape of fingers. 5 perfect marks, red and raw, like they had been burned into him. Miles needed answers. What evil had he set free? He didn't know, not yet. But whatever it wasn't finished with him. And if he didn't uncover the truth soon, he had the gnawing sense he wouldn't survive long enough to. Then he heard it again. The weeping, faint and distant, but unmistakable. This time, it was coming from above, from the attic. Miles stared at the pull-down hatch. The cord swayed gently, though the air was still. Something about it felt deliberate, inviting. He climbed the ladder slowly, as if in a trance, the sound growing louder with each step. It wasn't just calling him, it was drawing him in. Dust, thick as ash, choked the air. Spiders fled from corners as he dragged aside rotting boxes and yellowed suitcases. Then, a trunk, old, iron-braced, sealed with a rusted clasp. It creaked when he opened it. Inside, books, papers, bundles wrapped in cloth, and at the very top, an old photograph curling at the edges. A stern man in dark robes stood before what looked like the old chapel ruins. On the back, in shaky handwriting, Elias Wickham, Town Elder, 1692. Miles blinked. His pulse quickened. Wickham! His name! A chill sank through his bones. Somehow, he was related to this man. He dug deeper. That's when he found it, a leather-bound journal, warped with age. On the cover, etched in near-faded gold, E.W. This was Elias Wickham's journal. He opened it with shaking fingers. The ink was brown and brittle. Pages lined with scrawled scripture, town decrees, ritual notes, and something darker. Words scratched out, entries smudged by trembling hands. Then, a drop of blood. It splashed across the page. His blood. His nose was bleeding, thick and red, soaking into the parchment like it had been waiting. Miles tried to blink. The room tilted. His eyes rolled back. A vision. Darkness. Then torches. Shouting. Miles stood in the shadows of a cobbled street soaked with rain. He watched, helpless, as a group of cloaked men dragged a screaming girl from a wooden cottage. One of them turned. The man from the photo. Elias Wickham. The girl fought. She screamed for her mother. "Let me go! She's a child! Please, no!" Her mother sobbed. "She speaks to shadows," Elias roared. "She bears the devil's mark. She's a witch." "Maura!" Her mother screamed. "Maura!" Miles flinched. The name burned itself into him. The girl, Maura, was kicking, pleading, eyes wide with terror. "Mama! Mama, help me!" she screamed, her voice raw and cracking. "Please, don't let them take me!" Her mother fought to reach her, sobbing, arms outstretched, but the townsfolk held her back. They dragged Maura past the chapel, past the graves, into the woods, to the well. "Seal it," Elias commanded. "Let her sins of witchcraft be carried with her into the depths of darkness. This well shall be her tomb and her silence." The grate slammed shut. Chains clinked. Her sobs echoed, and then disappeared. Miles woke on the attic floor, choking on dust and blood. His ears rang. He scrambled to his feet, one word repeating in his skull like a curse. Maura. He didn't just unseal a ghost, he unsealed the truth. The journal still lay open beside him, twisted slightly on the floorboards like it had fallen with purpose. Its final page was exposed, and the ink, though faded, was unmistakable. "We cast Maura Everlyn into the stone mouth. Her cries echo in my nightmares. May God forgive us and have mercy on her soul." Maura Everlyn? Everlyn. The name hit him like a cold wind. Miles stared at it, breath shallow. If he could find her mother's grave, if he could bring Maura's remains back, bury her with her family, maybe she'd stop. Maybe she'd let him live. Maybe she'd finally be at peace. He returned to the well at twilight, rope and shovel in hand. The air hung heavy, thick with mist. A single black bird sat on a branch, watching. Miles lowered himself into the shaft. The stench of rot and mildew filled his nostrils. At the bottom, water reached his knees, and bones shifted beneath his boots. He knelt, shaking, and uncovered the remains. A skeleton curled in on itself. Her jaw was broken. Her fingers' bones had splintered from clawing at the stone walls. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'll take you home now." Then the bones moved. Long, dripping arms rose from the water and seized his shoulders. The skeleton clutched him with fingers like wet iron. Miles thrashed, but she held fast, her voice bubbling from the dark. "Wickham, you carry his face. You carry his name." He was being dragged under. Water filled his mouth. Mud choked his nose. "I'm not him," he gasped. "Let me give you peace. Please, let me take you to her. To your mother." A pause. The grip loosened. Maura's bones sank back into the sludge. Miles scrambled up the rope with Maura's bones wrapped in a tarp, heart hammering like a war drum. At the edge of town sat an abandoned cemetery behind a sunken church. The graveyard was wild and overgrown, stones cracked with names lost to time, but he found it, the grave of Lena Everlyn, beloved mother. He dug through the night, ignoring the rain, ignoring the way the wind seemed to whisper his name. When he placed Maura's bones in the earth beside her mother, he said it aloud, "Maura Everlyn, you are home." The wind stopped. The rain lifted, and in that hush, the earth seemed to exhale. Miles returned to the farmhouse, soaked and shaking. He stepped inside, unsure if the nightmare had truly ended, but everything was still. No weeping, no puddles, no fogged mirrors. In the bathroom, the faucet dripped once, clear and cold. The next morning, Miles returned to the well. He drove a new sign into the soil where the old one had rotted away. "She rests peacefully. She weeps no more." He turned to leave, and from the trees, a single whisper followed him. "Not all debts are paid."
Midnight fog, the shadows crawl, footsteps echo down the hall. Doors creak open, whispers sigh, something unseen is passing by. Lanterns flicker, the cold wind hums a warning song. Do you hear the drums? They whisper your name when the night turns black. No turning around, there's no going back. In black hollow streets where nightmares start, you'll find the bumps in the dark.